Jumping in puddles!
Applying sunscreen and getting ready to go to the beach. Carving pumpkins. Sitting by the fire and drinking hot chocolate. Now, these are examples of some activities that people like to do during the 4 seasons of the year. If you didn't already know, the 4 seasons of the year are spring, summer, fall, and winter. Let's talk about the dates these seasons start and end. The first season I would like to talk about is spring. Spring starts on March 20th and ends on June 21st. The season that starts next in the calendar is summer. Summer starts on June 21st and ends on September 22nd. The third season of the year is fall. Fall starts on September 22nd and ends on December 21st. The final season is winter. Winter starts on December 21st and ends on March 20th. Next up, I would like to talk about the weather that we see in our area. In Pennsylvania, the weather changes a lot from season to season. In spring here, the temperature is usually between 40 and 60 degrees. We get lots of rain here, which means plants and trees start to grow. One thing people really like to do when rain comes is they like to start planting gardens for their spring crops to start to grow. In this area, summertime weather can be very hot and humid. Temperatures usually range between the upper 80s and the hundreds, which means it's very hot compared to other areas up north. We also get lots of thunderstorms during this time with lots of lightning and thunder. During the fall, the temperature in this area is between 40 and 60 degrees. The leaves start to fall off the trees in fall, getting ready for winter. People need to rake those leaves into piles to get them out of their yard, and they like to jump inside of them. They also like to carve pumpkins at Halloween time, and people dress up in costumes for trick-or-treating. Winter here is usually very cold. Temperatures are usually between 20 and 40 degrees. We usually get lots of snow in the area, about 24 inches during the winter. When it does snow, people like to ski, snowboard, and sled. Now we're going to talk about the weather in different parts of the United States. Here we have a map of the United States, and I want to talk about the weather on the east coast of the United States and the west coast of the United States. Let's start off by talking about the weather in the biggest city on the east coast, New York City. The weather in New York City is kind of similar to Pennsylvania, but there are a couple little changes that I want to discuss. The weather there is a little bit cooler year-round than the weather in Pennsylvania because it is further north. The winters can be very heavy with lots of snow and rain coming down. The summers are cool, but you don't get to see the sun very much because of the high skyscrapers. You also don't get to see the leaves fall as much because there's not as many trees in New York City. In the spring, it's the same as the fall and summer. Because there isn't as much plants, you don't see the flowers bloom quite as often. But overall, the weather is pretty similar to that of Pennsylvania. But it is very different to the weather of Los Angeles. Now let's go across the country and talk about the biggest city on the West Coast, Los Angeles. Even though they are in the same country, the weather in Los Angeles is very different to the weather in New York City. The summers are very hot in Los Angeles, with the weather ranging from between the 90s to the hundreds and even the 110s. The spring in Los Angeles is very hot like the summer, with temperatures upwards of the 80s. Same is true of the fall in Los Angeles, with the weather being in the 80s a lot of the time. In the winter, unlike New York City, the temperatures get into the 50s and 60s for most of the year. To learn some more, I would like you, with help from an adult, to go on the internet and look up 3 places anywhere in the world. And I want you guys to talk about the weather that happens in the seasons there. I then want you to pick your favorite season and draw a picture of what the weather is like in that place.